News 46. Local coverage you can count on.
Happy New Year! It is going to be the New Year, and we have our little New Year's baby doing the baby dance for 2012.
Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful?
That's beautiful.
I mean, he's such a versatile little guy, isn't he?
I believe it.
I mean, he's been a pirate, he's been Santa Claus, and now he's the little newborn baby of 2012.
That's
They want to
fantastic.
show them how you dance.
That's beautiful.
We got to work on his arm movements later,
Yeah.
but he's got that leg thing going, doesn't
Oh,
he?
yeah.
Anyway, we've had so much fun this year with Funky Monkey that
Monkey.
it's like having a Barbie doll all over again. I get to dress him.
It is. Yeah.
And I'm just having so much fun with these little costumes.
Yes.
Yes. So, did you have a very nice Christmas, I hope?
I did. I was
Reno?
in Reno.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, visiting my cousin.
Did you get any snow?
There's no snow up there.
No snow.
But it was 10 degrees. 10 degrees cold.
That's cold.
And I shivered.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You weren't
And-
dressed right, huh?
Yes, I was. I was dressed right, but I didn't come out. I just stayed in.
You didn't come out right.
Well, I did come out because I had to go to my cousin's house.
There you go.
So I had a little hot chocolate,
Ew,
and a little coffee,
That's right.
and a little tea,
That's right.
and a little whatever else that goes
We're
along with
going
it.
to have some tea today.
Yes.
We're doing a little English tea or Scottish
Scottish tea.
And English,
The
Scottish,
little sandwiches.
Denmark, they're all the same. No, just kidding.
The sandwiches.
Yes, we are, and so
the little
I'm sure that
cookies.
it has something to do with the New Year theme
Yes.
for the Scottish tea. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to New Year's. I get to perform with Woody Woods, and that's going to be at the Mountain Falls Golf Club.
Very good.
And so for me, that's the best way to ring in the New Year's singing.
It is. Yes.
I
And you
kinda
have
like that.
such a beautiful voice.
I know. Now listen, people. You get this Nielsen rating little thing in the mail. We need you to fill it out and let people know that you're watching our show so that we get that rating system going and we're somewhat informed, even though half the time we're never informed. I do have a funny that Pat, she had to read it to me just so I
Why?
know. I guess because I don't know how to read.
It's highway safety.
It's highway safety for the New Year's, but let me tell you, girls, this is one way to get through if you do something wrong. And it says, older woman, is there a problem, officer? Because she was pulled over for speeding, obviously. He said, ma'am, you were speeding. And the woman says, oh, I see. And he said, may I see your driver's license? I don't have one. Why don't you have one? I lost it 4 years ago. And that was for drunk driving. See, that'll happen to you on New Year's if you do that, people. Officer says, well, I see, can I see your vehicle registration papers? And she said, I can't do that. And he's like, why not? I stole this car. Stole it? Yes, and I killed and hijacked. No, I killed and hacked up the owner. You can't kill and then hijack
No,
somebody.
you can't do that. No.
But you can kill and hack.
Yes.
Someone else. Okay. And his body parts are in a plastic bag in the trunk. So of course the officer looks at the woman, slowly backs away, and calls up for backup. So soon enough, another senior officer approaches, holding his gun, but not out. Because we can get in trouble for that too. And there's all that
There it
thing
is.
going on with
There it
police brutality and stuff. Anyway, so Officer 2 says to the ma'am, I need you to step out of your vehicle, and she steps out. Is there a problem, sir? She asks. He said, well, one of my officers told me that you stole this car and murdered the owner. Murdered the owner? Yes. Could you please open the trunk of your car, please? And she's like, well, sure enough. She opens the trunk. It's empty. And he said, ma'am, is this your car? And she said, well, of course it is. Here's my registration and license. Now, the other officer is like, oh my gosh. And of course, the second officer is like, one of my officers claimed that you do not have a driver's license, which she did. And he said also that, you didn't have registration, which she did. So he looks really puzzled. And he said, well, thank you, ma'am. One of my officers, it's just that he said you stole the car, you murdered and hacked up the owner. And, you didn't have a driver's license. And the older woman says, I'll bet that liar told you I was speeding too, didn't he? Payback time.
Yay.
So anyway, I didn't read it verbatim. That was my own take on it.
That was
so.
good.
That was the
Very
story
good.
hour for you, children, from Lynn Peterson.
Yes.
And Al Jones was doing all the visuals, which is
Yes,
always
I was
nice when
doing
you,
that.
yeah.
Do the visuals,
Yeah,
which
that's
was
what,
great.
you know,
Yes,
story time should be all about.
that's right.
Yes.
Who's on the show today?
Who is on the show? Well,
That's
we
right.
have got Val Van Holt, and not Val Van Holt.
Well,
I know 2 Vals in the Valley. And that's them. Oh, my goodness. Val Hallam, she's going to be doing the Scottish tea for us today.
That's right.
Along with her maid, Pat. You're not?
right.
I said English tea, and Pat said it was Scottish tea. See, I was
English.
right. I said that
It's
the very
English
first
today.
thing.
Sometimes we do Scottish, and sometimes we do English.
That's right.
Yeah.
We also have
Right.
the Water Rock Western group. They're going to be shooting them up and shooting them out and down. No, actually, they're going to be talking about some great stuff that they've achieved, including a trophy.
Right.
And then we have Flo Provenza, and we're going to be talking about how the maps came to be in the Valley of Pahrump that give us all of our locations and how we got there. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this commercial.
Welcome back to the show, folks. My first guest is, believe it or not, it is the Western Water Rock Group. Water Rock.
Waterstone. We're the Waterstone Bunch.
I didn't see anything that said in here. It was, what's the difference between a rock and a stone?
Oh, about this much.
One's a little harder.
Anyway, the Waterstone Group.
Bunch.
Bunch. And I tell you who they are. This is... And a bunch, right. This is, wait a minute, you guys are confusing me here in my young age. This is Hawkeye Joe, and of course, this is Granny over here. The
you
lovely
sweetheart.
Granny.
Yes.
And then, of course, over there we have Charlie Springo, known as the mayor.
The mayor, right?
Yeah, you guys look just lovely, and you're here to probably tell us a few things about what happened and what you've been doing.
Well, we've actually been pretty busy. We just participated in the Thanksgiving community dinner,
Uh-huh.
and we also participated in the Christmas community dinner, and we're getting ready to go down to the annual competition in Yuma, called the Gathering of the Gunfighters.
Fighters.
And that's a competition that is where there are teams that perform. We have teams coming from Colorado this year, I understand. And
East Texas.
each team puts on a 15-minute performance. We're judged upon our costuming and our performance, and so we've been rehearsing for that. Been pretty busy with that.
Okay. Well, what I like to ask, and I'm gonna go down the line and ask each of you because I have questions, for each one. Granny, how do you decide on what you're going to wear and pick? How do you research all of this?
Well, when I first became a gunfighter, it was kind of interesting. I had to figure out, well, what am I going to be that I can afford? So I always loved Granny on Beverly Hillbillies, and then Little House on the Prairie was my favorite. So there you go. I became Granny that was a frontier woman, and I'm a farmer's wife. And I dress as a farmer's wife with the pioneer bonnets and the long skirts and the boots, and that way that's my character. And then, of course, I get a little rowdy. A Hawkeye here has to keep me in line quite a few of the time. But it's a lot of fun. It's and I've been told that I really become Granny.
Well,
that I
kinda
really
think
become
so.
my character
Yeah.
when I dress in costuming.
I kind of think so. What about you, Hawkeye?
She makes her own costumes.
Makes her own costumes also.
Oh yes, I make
It's
them.
beautiful.
Well, I can't afford it. They're very, very simple.
Raise it up.
And of course I wear all the proper garments
too high.
underneath.
Not too high now.
I wear my pantaloons and
This
then
is
a
family
Public show, family show.
your petticoat also, and so it's interesting. You literally go from the skin out, and then this here is called a ridicule.
Ridicule. Now
This
that's
is called
that's
a ridicule.
interesting. Yeah.
And it's funny because when you go into competition, you have to be period inside your ridicule also.
Wow.
So you carry things like headache powders, maybe a plug of chewing tobacco, a bottle of Granny's elixir. Good for your rheumatiz. No. So I mean, It's interesting.
It is, yeah. Very interesting. Now, Hawkeye, also, I want to know, how do you decide on what you're going to wear and pick? Do you research anything also, or?
Oh, we try to research all types of characters in that period. And I just picked an old timer, since I are one. And my character comes from back in the Ozarks of Missouri, and just drifted west and got in on the Gold Strike days and the rowdy days, and then finally settled down and become a lawman.
Wow.
And trying to corral Granny.
We try to create a biography for each of the characters, because we all use an alias, and so we try to create a biography, a historical biography on that particular alias, or we take a historical character and base on that.
Yeah. See, because I'm looking at all the costumes and everything here, and they all look very authentic, just like yours especially, and said at that time. And understand that you can go back not only in the 1800s, but you guys can go back 1700 to see what they were wearing back then.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, our period that we portray is really from about 1867
1860.
up to about 1900, which was the closing of the frontier. And so we researched the dressing and the equipment for that particular time frame.
Now, I want to talk about, before the time runs out, and I know you guys you won a trophy.
Oh, yes. We're
Where
so
was that?
proud.
Where did you do that? I mean, where was?
Well, first of all, I should tell you that we just formed this group
Okay.
in February of
Is that right?
2011.
Ooh.
Already we have won 3 trophies,
We have 3 trophies and a ribbon.
ribbon, certificates.
Wow.
Well, even in our own 4th of July parade here in Pahrump, we took first place.
You did first place
Yeah,
too.
we took first place in our parade.
Well, yay! Well, what that lets me know that you guys are really serious, or that the things that you pick out as far as dress and everything, and costumes, and how you perform, is better than anybody else.
Well, that's the reason we formed the Waterstone Bunch, is because we wanted to go into competition. We're very, very serious about authenticity and about performances. Our skits, we try and relate them to actual incidents that may have happened during that time period. So we really wanted to do this.
Well, tell me something about the competition. I know, you must have a large group of competitors.
Yowza. Oh, yes, and very, very, very good. Some of them that we compete against are even professional actors.
Come on.
And we consider ourselves amateur. And so, yes, and some people even do it during the week. And so they perform in different functions. So it's hard for us.
Yeah, I want the folks to see something here. Charlie, I want you to show me the watch that you have here, and the one reason is that goes back a long time.
Well, yes, this is a key-wind watch. This is actually a Marion watch, and this is actually made in 1874.
Wow, 1874.
It stopped working in 1875, but
Something's never changed.
something's going to change.
That's right.
But this is an authentic watch. The watch chain itself actually goes back to the Civil War.
Civil War.
This is actually from my great grandfather.
Wow.
So those are the kinds of things you'd be judged on in a competition. We also do what's called living history. And living history can be a portrayal of an actual character, historical character, or it can be an encampment. And we have an encampment that has been set up as laundry camp, and we took first prize with that down at Banning.
Now, these competitions, where are they held mostly, or is it all over?
They're held. There are several that are held throughout the West, but the main ones that we go to are at Yuma, which is this will be about the 12th year for the Gathering of the Gunfighters. They are held at Banning. We went to that. So they're held all over, really.
Carson City.
Carson
We
City and
performed in
everything.
Carson
And
City.
when you go to these competitions, you have to be period authentic
Yeah.
from head to toe.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate everyone coming. This is I want to make sure I don't get it, the Waterstone Group. Bunch or group and so forth. I appreciate you coming in because a lot of things I didn't know before. So I thank you for coming here. I look forward to seeing you again in your next competition, and we're going to show that the trophy that you won.
All right.
Okay, keep it up.
Well, thank you for
We'll
having
try.
us.
Yes.
Yes.
Stay tuned, folks. We shall return after these messages. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Young at Heart, and we are celebrating a Christmas/New Year's style English tea or Victorian tea with our woman with all the knowledge in Victorian teas, Miss Val. And it's a beautiful setting, and she's going to tell us some of the traditions at a tea, especially during the holidays, what's expected and what we're going to be served. And the importance of the way it's served, I guess. Or maybe there isn't any importance to it at all. It's just fun.
It is fun.
Yes.
It is fun, yes.
So let's start with what are we having today for lunch?
Well, today we have two kinds of sandwiches. We have cucumber sandwiches and we have ham sandwiches.
Oh, right.
And then we also have little mince pies, which are very traditional at Christmas time. Mince pies and little lemon curd tarts. And we have chocolate cakes and blueberry muffins.
Oh. That's what I said. I saved myself for lunch here, and it's like, it looks so delightful.
All served with English tea, of course.
Absolutely.
And today we have our maid.
We have a
Pat.
maid. Oh, my.
And who is one of my Victorian ladies, really. But,
Right, and she's serving us.
But she's going to serve us today.
I know, we don't make it easy for you, do we?
No.
Do we? We even had a rehearsal, and although this time it did go a lot better
Very good.
than the rehearsal.
You know, when she said, "No, you don't make it easy for me."
Oh, thank you, darling. I think I'm going to I'll try the ham one. Now, you cooked this ham, I understand.
I did. I cooked it on Christmas Day.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
And I'll have a cucumber when I think.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, before we get into what is a tradition in England, and that the crackers, right? Mm-hmm. Now, that is something that you do in your Christmas tea. Is crackers are served,
All
or is
good
it
Christmas parties in England
Have a cracker.
Have a cracker
Oh, okay.
to pull.
That is
And
so
it's
cool.
something you pull, the two people between
Well, let's
them.
demonstrate. Let's see if you can do this. Are you ready, Al? Mm-hmm. Yay! We rehearsed this one, and I got it again. And I was saying it's almost like Thanksgiving, where
And you get-
the turkey wishbone.
Right, you get little gifts and sometimes paper hats and sometimes
Oh, I
little
thought this was
gifts
the
and
toy.
games
It's like a
and-
little kaleidoscope. Here you go, Pat, darling. Oh,
Did you get your thing? Oh, you got it.
no, what did I get?
I don't know.
Oh, I bet you know what? Funny thing happened on the way over here. I bought contacts for Christmas, and this is a glass. If your glasses, you put around your neck and hold them. I don't have my glasses today.
Can you
There
see?
you go, Al.
Oh, this is pince-nez. You call it a pince-nez or something? Like the glasses
Yeah,
to
well,
hold
whatever
it?
No,
you
it
wanna
just
call it.
it's just so that if you take your glasses off, they can hang
Right.
down.
I thought they used to do that way back in. They called it a different thing. I thought it was an English word.
No,
That
a pince-nez is glasses
like a
without
monocle.
the. No, that's
Oh, that's
that's
right.
one. But
With the
pince-nez
two, it
is,
just
is
clips
two.
on your nose,
It clips
yeah.
on your nose without the stems.
Yes.
See, now she knows that word. You didn't even know the word.
I did too. Ignore him. People were enjoying our dinner. I have a question for you. You were talking about mincemeat pies are very traditional in an English tea for Christmas or the holidays. Is there a history behind that, or the tradition behind the mincemeat? Like,
It's just an age-old
Thing.
custom, and all good British ladies usually make their own mincemeat. This particular mincemeat was made by my friend Pam, and the fruit in there, the raisins in there, were actually grown in her garden. So it's actually organic, and it's all sugar-free.
All right.
And Miss Val makes her own pastry dough too, and you know, well, like I said, we did a dress rehearsal because we just had to. We've already tried the mincemeat. We tried the. I love it when we have to have rehearsals with food around. It's
And the
so
little
much
lemon
fun.
curd tarts. I made the lemon curd as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, I understand that you do these teas once a month.
Yes, with the Victorian Ladies Society, we meet once a month, and the ladies take turns each month to put on a tea.
Right.
And I did the Christmas one this time. We had 24 ladies in my garden room.
Wow.
And Pat always does with Lady Carol. They always do the March one because this is our birthday month of the Victorian ladies. And this in March, Victorian Ladies Society of Pahrump will be 6 years old.
Oh my goodness, that's
So
great.
it will be the 6th anniversary.
So they're already set themes, or do you every year do a different theme for each month, or?
We try to, like February, is like a
take two.
Valentine's month. And then in April, Pam does the tea at her house, and this will be a St. George's tea on St. George, because St. George is the patron saint of England, and so we do a St. George's tea on the 23rd of April. So it's...
And do you allow people, I'm sorry, you had a question.
The question.
But you're eating, don't you dare open your mouth until your food is swallowed, young boy, ma'am.
I wanted to ask her about her hat.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll ask about the hat in a minute. Let me ask her a question about
sorry.
the ladies' tea organization. It's open to anyone that would like to be involved, or
It's not an age thing, It's
No,
open
no,
to
no.
all ages.
Oh, okay.
But we try to keep it around 24 members because otherwise you'll get too many people, for a lady to have a tea in her house.
You didn't see that, did you, Miss
No,
Val?
I didn't
Okay,
see that.
good.
I ignored it.
I don't know if that was caught on film, but Al did it again.
Big time.
It is, oh my gosh, Al.
What?
Can't take you to an English tea ever again.
I was trying to
I'm
do it
sorry.
correctly.
So, about 24
Yes,
members.
we try and
Okay.
keep it around 24. But there's always someone who, people move around a lot, so there's always somebody who leaves town, and if they do, we have a little waiting list. So then we take the next one on the waiting list. But people can bring guests occasionally. We do allow guests.
That's nice of you to do
And,
that. And can they call you if they would like to be on that waiting list?
Absolutely.
Okay, what's a good number for them?
Okay, 537-0468.
537-0468. And I think it would be delightful because I've got to tell you, if this is any indication of what is served, and of course you made it all yourself, it's fabulous food. And
Thank you.
It's just delightful, and I think it's fun to have something like this to
It is. And
to invite your friends.
Yes, and the ladies have formed, long-lasting friendships in the group.
Oh, I bet they have. I bet
Yes,
they.
yes.
Did you not eat like dinner and breakfast or something? I swear to God, Al. He's just being a little picky over here and dropping his food on the table.
This is young at heart.
Absolutely.
And if I'm young,
And if you get any younger, we're putting a bib on you.
okay,
And a diaper.
No.
Good idea.
We'll put Funky Monkey's diaper on you. Now, you had a question for Miss Val.
Miss Violet.
Wait,
about the hat.
no. Miss Val, about the hat.
This hat was made for me for a Christmas gift last year by my friend Pam's daughter Riley.
It's beautiful, and you have an
It's all handmade.
Yes, and an antique brooch
Yes,
on
and
the
there's a
back
little
that's just
pin on the
gorgeous.
back, which my brother bought for me when I was 21.
Wow.
Now,
Many years ago.
Is this a pretty fair replica of a Victorian hat?
It is,
pretty
yes.
on target?
Riley, she really did her homework and looked into the type of hats. And she's made several for her mother as well.
Well, you know what? You should
pretty.
probably do something similar to like the group, the Waterstone gang. Where they go around and do competitions. Maybe you could make this go around all of Nye County or Nevada and have different teas and then have competitions on costumes
this
and
year
authenticity.
Yeah, this year we did. My husband and I made a calendar for the Victorian Ladies Society.
Oh,
and we
wow.
gave it as a gift to each of our ladies. And I am going to send one off to the Tea Time magazine, because they are doing articles on different tea time groups.
So
around the
this isn't,
country.
there is an organization
Um,
or something
well,
of it if
it's-
you've got a magazine or there is a
It
magazine
has
out
grown. There are a lot of Victorian tea groups in you know, around. I think there are 2 or 3 in Las Vegas too.
Now, when you get together, do you do charity work or anything like that, or do you do things as a group, or is it just basically a nice way to get together and meet people?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's just a nice social group, you know, within ourselves, and as I say, they keep. It's long-lasting friendships within the group.
I think that's great, and
Yeah.
and 6 years running.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think
Yeah.
that says a lot about
Yeah,
you
and
know,
all the ladies
what
look
people
forward
like.
to it every month.
Right.
They really look forward to it.
I think, and do you encourage everyone to dress in the era?
Oh
of-
yes. Everybody comes with long dresses and vintage furs like this one. This has got to be about
Look at
65
this
years old.
beautiful. I don't know how well you can see, but it has the little.
Mink tails.
Oh my gosh, the mink tails! That is just gorgeous.
That's beautiful.
Thank
Well,
you.
I thank you so much, and we're delighted to have all this great food. Again, that phone number, one more time, Val, if anyone's interested.
537-0468.
And I should say, Pat, thank you so much for acting as maid today, because
Yes,
last
thank you,
time
Pat.
we had you here. You can come in here and
Come in.
scooch in.
Come and
Last time we allowed her to
down
sit
so
at the
everybody
table
can
with
see your
her. But
pretty
let's-
hat.
Yeah, she's got a
Yeah.
beautiful. Good. There you go. Anyway, thank you all so much, and
Well, thank you for having us.
you're welcome. We'll be back.
Yeah, I'll do better next time.
Okay. We'll teach you manners. Well, here we are once again back at Young at Heart, and my next guest, of course, is the wonderful friend of mine, Flo Provenza. And today, you've got all this knowledge about Pahrump and its beginnings and everything that's going on. And today we're going to talk about the mapping of Pahrump. Because I was kind of surprised, I know how when towns get discovered, you wonder, when did they do the plotting and the mapping and blah, 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 and all that good stuff. And so that's what we're talking about. And I was asking you earlier, did they have anything to go on even by the time you all arrived in the 60s, correct? Or?
Yeah, the only thing they had, I can't call it good really, one of the kids in high school drew lines and put, the street, that street. There were just a few streets. That's it. Aside from that, if you wanted to know where someone was, they'd say, well, you go down such and such a street, which could have been Pahrump Valley Boulevard. You go down till you get to that first crossroads, then you turn left, you go past 3 dirt roads, then you turn right, go about a block and a half, and it's the third house down.
Oh, the herd of the house and third house
Third
down
house
or
down.
something like that. Yeah, that just amazes me that, even we're talking at that point, it was in the 60s, correct?
But let me tell you something about the 60s. There were 400 phones in 67.
In Pahrump Valley. Only 400 phones? What else?
And there were, in 79, there were 1,808 registered voters.
Oh, my goodness.
That's like 12 years later.
Right.
In 1973, there were 2 calls to the police for fires.
Oh.
Or wherever they call it. I guess they just called the emergency. I don't know what was there. But in 73, the phones and the power were just almost even. There were 1,500.
Oh, my goodness.
And then in 81, the power jumped up to 4,041. And in 79, just a couple of years before that, there were 1,518 phones. At one time, there were more phones than electric.
Oh, goodness. That's amazing.
That's because somebody had a couple people living there. So they had. And as far as the police incidents, I said, there were like 2 fire calls.
Right, in that
Back
time
in,
period.
well, then later
In that
on,
whole
it
year.
got up to something like 396 between police and fire.
Goodness gracious. So tell us, how did the mapping become, how did it happen? What was the catalyst to get this going? Because your son was involved.
Yes. Jan came out to live with us after we were out here for a couple of years, and that's like 33 years ago.
So that would have been roughly early 70s.
Yeah.
Or no, or before the, yeah. Early
No,
70s.
It wasn't
yeah,
quite
like
early.
73.
We were working on the house in the early. We actually moved here permanently in 78.
Got it.
So it's like 33 years.
Okay.
And Jan came out to stay out here. He wasn't married yet or anything, and he just was working with computers and just decided to come and live out here. So he came out, and it disturbed him one night because we could hear sirens. And I don't know if they police sirens. I don't think we had an ambulance yet. We may have. We did all pitch in to buy an ambulance at one point, but I'm so old I forget when. Anyhow, he heard the sirens, and they were going up and down roads here and there, and we found out about a day or two later that someone had a heart attack,
Oh, my.
and they were trying to find him.
And they couldn't.
Couldn't find him.
Now, see,
Nobody told him how many
yeah.
dirt roads to go past.
Or they didn't have time to find the dirt road or to stop and
Yeah,
ask. Oh
I don't
my
know.
gosh. You know, that's something you never think about that. But you're
No. Now, there were maps from people who subdivided.
Right.
People had subdivided, and some of those maps, I remember that there was one incident where a man sold a house that was built on land that wasn't really near the lot that it was supposed to be,
No, that had to be preferred equities.
you know?
The maps for preferred equities.
Well, their map, to this day, I have this land in back between my house and my neighbor. I have a fence on my boundary line. He has a fence on his boundary line. And there's about a mile and then another half a mile. You could follow this trail. I think at some point they were going to make some kind of a road out of it.
Or
I
an
don't know
easement or
what.
something, but
And
nobody
the-
touches it.
I've called about it because the weeds grow there like crazy. I
Oh,
have 5,000 rabbits,
Oh my goodness.
and nobody owns it.
So getting back to this whole incident, and so that spurred
He-
Jan on to
He
create.
decided that that was very dangerous.
Uh-huh.
And that we really needed a map. So he started finding ways to work on it. The first thing he did was get together with Ronnie Phillips, and Ronnie was teaching him surveying, so he would get to know a little bit about it. And then little by little, he did research. That's where I got all these figures from. And some people, if they did have a lot of people come out, would go out to the highway and put an arrow and a sign saying like Murphy's.
Murphy
this way.
Street that way.
And then if you went far enough, you might find another sign.
Oh
Okay.
my goodness.
Nobody could find us because we didn't have any signs
No,
up.
you didn't.
And so what we did, Jan went down and talked to my brother. My brother has an engineering firm in California. And so he knows all this stuff. And he started getting together a bunch of things that he had to do. He got permission from the county. And he went back and he made so many trips back and forth up to Tonopah, getting information. And he started putting it all together. One of the things is a list here.
And what surprises me, this is now all handwritten, a little bit of it typed up. But I mean, we're talking all this work done by hand. It's almost
Yeah.
like we were doing it from the
Yeah,
1800s or something.
Number one, gathering data, the existing subdivisions and parcel maps, the assessor's parcel maps, photographs, aerial photographs, field surveys. He went everywhere looking for this information.
Wow.
And then he started putting it together slowly. He even took a job for a while. They had not done a government map of this area since before '05.
05 meaning like 1905?
Yeah,
Okay.
1905. So the government came out to do a new aerial and a new government survey map.
And they had Jan
And
on board.
they
to
had
help.
him. He got caught up on a mountain because the helicopter broke down one time, and they were sitting on the mountain. But yeah,
So with all of this information that Jan gathered up and put all the data together,
every
this
night.
is still the same map today that is used for Pahrump as
yes.
far as a
And-
layout of the valley.
And the history is really kind of funny about the whole thing. He did get help from my brother, who knew where to go for the information you needed for
Right.
a map. It was copyrighted,
Oh, okay.
and Jan got sick.
He got what?
He got sick.
Yes, I do remember. him
This
getting
was
ill.
just the first
So this was your preliminary map?
A preliminary
Yes,
map, that's it.
of the whole
You know,
valley.
of the valley, divided up the way it probably should be divided.
Uh-huh.
It's very important that you do it all right so that you have an addressing system that works.
Do we?
So that each parcel of land has an addressing system.
Okay.
Now we do, yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
So he spent one entire year working days and nights, traveling back and forth to the engineers in California, up to Tonopah, up to the state, got everything down, completely pat, all legal, and then had the map drawn. I have a list of the money he spent, which you would never believe.
So he was doing all of this without being employed by either the government or any
Oh, no, he
entity
just
at
did it
all?
on his own. He did work for the government a short time, couple
When
months,
they did the aerial,
because he got more information that way.
yes.
And then he started sending checks. Right here, at one point, there was a balance of $5,000. Some of it was printing, a lot of it was engineering.
But he did this all because he wanted this valley,
He didn't want people to die unnecessarily,
yes.
or to not be able to find relatives, or if kids got lost. And there actually was a man who died out on the other side right before you get to California out there, mile away from a house.
Oh,
And no cell phones at that time.
well, obviously, no.
His car broke down.
Now I got
110.
okay. With all of the, who came up with all the street names, or did that just develop?
Well, what he did was, we had the real estate office, so he put ads in the paper and said that if people would come in and tell them what the name of their street was.
Or make it up and
Or
tell
make it up.
Yeah, that's how we probably got tough girl, tough guy. Let's see, what was that other one?
CAAS.
Oh, CAAS. So there's some Hawaka Waka and Wakia come and.
So
I still to this day they'll get a chuckle
everybody
over
would go
Tough
down
Girl
to
and
the
Tough Boy.
office and tell them, show them where they lived,
Absolutely.
and get the names of the streets. Some of them were done in subdivisions.
Uh-huh.
A lot of subdivisions didn't have names for streets. A
We
lot of
had subdivisions?
subdivisions didn't have streets.
I was going to say, when did we get subdivisions in Pahrump? Probably not until.
Well, right around this time, because they divided, Abe Fox did one. He divided a big piece of land. He was from Vegas, bought a big chunk, divided it all up, and didn't put any streets in it.
Oh my goodness!
So you had to
gracious.
cross somebody's lot to get to yours.
Well, I think we can say that it's a great tribute to this town. Jan, obviously did pass away quite a few years ago of cancer.
Yeah.
But, that because of his contribution, we have the maps that we do today have here. And
However, there is a little catch to that, too.
okay, what's that catch? We got
The catch
a
is-
couple of seconds left. What's the catch?
It's too long
Oh
to
God!
tell.
You know what? Stay tuned for the next show because we'll talk about that catch, and we'll be back after this commercial message.
Welcome back to the show, folks. My next guest is Assistant Sheriff Rick Marshall and Captain Beck. Now, they're here from the Sheriff Department because they are sheriffs here in good old Pahrump. Now, we're here to talk about something, I think we are, aren't you, about New Year's safety and those kinds of things?
Yes.
Yes. All right, we'll start with you.
Nye County Sheriff's Office is wishing everyone a healthy and happy New Year's, and with that comes responsibility. We're advocating designated drivers, designated partners so that you're not out alone. We have the ride home program if you're too inebriated and you need a ride home. We have people standing by ready to assist you with that.
Well, from the years, before, what kinds of problems do you normally have here at that time of the year, New Year's, with the population?
Actually, everybody's very well behaved. Our auxiliary units provide the rides home for people. And again, it's rides home. We don't provide rides from one casino or one
To the
bar
other.
to the next bar or
Okay.
house or anything like that.
Right.
They're rides home, very specific, to ensure the roads are safe, the streets are safe, and everybody's as safe as possible over the holidays.
What about youngsters? What I'm talking about, the youngsters would be you know, what, 18 the drinking age or 21?
21.
21 drinking age. What about, do you have that much problem with him at this time of year, or do you?
No, no more,
not
no more
really.
so than normal. No.
Wow. What about some of the, I know this is Nye County, what about some of the other areas like Beatty and Tonopah and those areas? Do you find those seem to be in fairly decent shape during this time of the year?
So I can speak for Tonopah because working there,
Right.
you know, even though it was years ago.
Right.
It's pretty much quiet. I mean, it's a small town.
Same
Sure,
as Beatty.
Beatty's-
Same as Beatty?
I worked in Beatty, same
Beatty?
thing.
Oh, but those are the two largest areas.
Outside of Pahrump, yes.
Yeah, outside of Pahrump. Now, the other area, the other thing I thought about, and now this is outside of what are we talking about, but is Pahrump area 300 square miles? Or do you know offhand?
It's 12 by 17, if I remember the boundaries.
Yeah.
The Pahrump Valley,
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
yes.
Wow, which is really something. That is now back to what we were talking about. What about the parties that people have during this time of year? What do you find out about that? Are you called to these areas for anything like that mostly?
No, usually
No?
everybody pretty well maintained.
They are.
They're very well behaved for the most part, you know.
Yeah.
You're always going to have your few.
Right.
A town of 40,000, you can't help but have a few that
Yeah.
have to act up and act the
Right.
fool and stuff, but for the most part, they'll behave.
But well behaved. Then that means that you don't make that many arrests during that time of year.
It means that we're prepared for trouble,
Yeah.
but we don't often see it. How's
Often
that?
see it. Yay! What about accidents? At that, I'm just thinking about New Year's, this time of New Year's, the accidents and things like that.
Again, everybody maintains and is
Pretty good.
Yes.
You know
Pretty
what I mean?
quiet.
Pretty quiet.
Pretty quiet.
That's good. Then, so in other words, a big senior like myself, I could go out and not have to worry about too much.
Right, we'll have our
No
extra
problem.
patrols out.
Yeah.
You know, making sure the bars are safe, making sure the roads are safe as much as possible, and
Do you have more patrols during that time of the year, during this time of the year, versus some of the other times?
Yeah.
In regards to,
New Year's Eve, we'll have a
Yeah.
grant-funded saturation patrol out.
Mhm.
Yes, yeah, which is Rick's bailiwick, so.
oh, okay. What else? He's sitting over here real quiet.
I know, that's
You
why-
know, that's what I mean, trying to tell the captain here to talk about everything here. I mean, you're supposed to have a lot of things to say too. What else should we know about New Year's? Assistant
You should
Sheriff
just have a good time. Again, designated drivers, be aware of your surroundings, where you're at. If you're going into the local bars or other places, keep your drink close to you so nobody spikes it. Stay with your group. Don't wander off. Don't go out with people that you don't know. And just have a good, fun time. But with that comes responsibility.
Which I thought was true when you say that when you're going to places, be aware of what's around you, which I always did, because being a former policeman, when I went into a place, I'd always make sure my back is where nobody can get behind me. And I want to make sure I knew where the door was so I could, get out. Because I noticed that I know this is off the record, but I noticed that what had happened, me and another officer went into the place there and there was trouble. But we were off duty. And so I said, we better get out. Everything's getting a little rough in there. So I says, let's call, a patrol to come in and maybe, do something about this. Because the poor guy, he wasn't bothering anybody. And somebody was coming over the young lady was kind of socking him and everything. And he was just docile. And I said, we better not stay and call the which is what we did in a sense. But I would never run away from trouble per se. But then you have to kind of be careful.
Well, and we don't want anybody to have any trouble. So if there is trouble, call the sheriff's office. Let us handle it. Usually it's a misunderstanding, and our officers can take care of that without anybody having to go to jail. And we don't want anybody going to jail. We want them to have a fun time. But again, responsibility comes into play.
Well, do you find, and I noticed this back, of course, big city, Chicago, as well, but do you find that in the house parties, that when someone having a house party here, at this time of the year, that there may be problems there in regards to someone just suddenly having too much to drink? Do you find you're having more calls to that?
No, again, because the house parties are usually a little more intimate groups.
Yeah.
and everybody takes care of one another. You're always going to have your domestics and things
Right.
like that. A lot of those are alcohol driven, so
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
yeah, but nothing as far as particular parties or anything like
Right.
that. You
And
know?
like that. This is, these are good things, folks, that you should know. And just like what he was saying, what about at this end of the year, people who firing, well, once again, New Year's, they're firing pistols and fireworks. Do you have a problem with that? Is there anything about that? Can they have fireworks here? I don't think so.
Take that one.
You handle,
The fireworks, again, New Year's Eve,
Yeah.
midnight, there's always a few fireworks going off.
Right.
Everybody's got to have their Mad Minute and things like that. But again, it's something we know is going to occur. It's something we prepare for a little bit, and we deal with it. It's not a big issue.
Which I thought was very good. Now, as far as fireworks are concerned, at New Year's, I can see the 4th of July, but you say that at times, during this time, this change of the year, you do have some people who may do a few fireworks out in the area there.
From about 12 to 12:05, depending on
That's
everybody's
about
watch.
it.
Yes.
and the other thing to remember on the firearms you mentioned, what goes up has to come down.
That's right.
So, we certainly don't want these things coming down around crowds of people. Somebody ends up getting accidentally shot, or somebody sets a house on fire. So,
And to make it very plain, fireworks, there's no exemption for New Year's.
Oh, same
Fireworks
thing.
are illegal, yes.
Yeah, same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. See, because I used to always at New Year's say, well, I don't want to go out anywhere because there's the problems. There's the problems of the accidents. There's the problems of
Right.
people doing crazy stuff, and so that has usually on New Year's kept me in. Of course, at this juncture in my life. Now, the other time I wanted to make 2 parties. I wanted to make a party in Vegas because I found out that they closed the streets down at 5 o'clock. So either you got to be in there, and then I thought about all these millions of people, So I'd rather be out here in serene Pahrump. Now, is there, with the little time we have left, is there anything else that our citizen here in Pahrump and area need to know about the holiday, And is there any number that they can call if they're having any problems, here?
Nye County Sheriff's Office, it's 751-7000, and they'll receive our pre-recorded messages. They want to select number 4 to get them to dispatch.
Great.
Cell phones, don't talk on the phone, on the car, cell phones.
Cell phones? Oh, cell phones on the car either. Isn't that
And
a law
that
now?
comes
The new law goes into effect January 1st.
Which means you can't text or use a cell phone while driving.
Unless it is a hands-free.
Hands-free. Okay, I could use a hands-free.
device.
Which they have those things like a Bluetooth, and they have
Yes.
these things you can put in the car that connect to your radio.
Correct.
Those are things that people should know about. Folks, they have these things, and they're inexpensive.
And it's a primary offense, so that means if our officers see you talking on a cell phone, they can pull you over for that.
Ooh, is that expensive? Do you know?
The first couple of them are not that expensive, but the third offense, within 7 years, is a suspended license for 6 months and a $500 fine.
Ooh, wow. Well, listen, I want to thank you two for coming and sharing this information for New Year's, which is very important. Thank you there, Sheriff, and thank you also.
Thank you very much, sir.
Al,
And
you
I
have a
want
good
you-
new year.
I will, and you guys have a safe New Year, which I know you will. And folks, hey, enjoy New Year's and Happy New Year to everyone. Stay tuned. We shall return after these messages. Don't go away.
Well, we had a great show today, did we not?
We did. And don't forget New Year's.
Oh, yeah.
And if you need the sheriff, don't forget to call him.
Well, if you need the sheriff, and we do have also, a taxi service, too.
We have taxi service only if you had too much to drink. So since you don't
Absolutely.
drink, we don't have to worry about that. And since you'll be singing and entertaining, I know that shouldn't be any problem
Who
with
told you I don't drink?
I just thought I'd say that to see what your reaction
I like to
would
have
be.
a couple of glasses of wine. Yes, I do, and
little
especially
wine,
when
a
I am
little vino.
drinking. When I am singing, because it loosens you up. But not
Yeah.
that I have stage fright or anything, but it just kind of loosens you up, and
Yeah.
that way you can kind of play with the audience and get
Yeah.
them in the mood to dance and all that good stuff. So
That's kind of nice.
yeah, and being that I'm going to be so close to home at Mountain Falls,
You can walk.
I could walk if I needed to, but you can still get a DWW.
Walking?
Well, you used to be able to in California years and years and years
They
ago.
did. You walking out?
Oh yeah,
Because you're staggering down the street.
That's right.
They'll let you get into the rest of
I
this.
know. But the funny thing is, in Las Vegas, here they'll let you walk down the street with an open container of booze.
Come on.
Yet, if you're staggering, that you can get her.
That don't make sense.
That doesn't.
That doesn't make sense.
Hey, again, we want to say to you, Nielsen ratings, if you get this lovely little package in the mail, we want to have your voice heard. Please open it up and rate or do whatever you have to do in here. Let them know what shows you watch, including Channel 41, 46, and our show, especially Young at Heart.
Yay!
Next week, we have the lovely little Lier Dante, our little 14-year-old songstress, who is the most incredible little singer. And she's going to go far.
Oh, she
will go far.
I think so also.
Reverend Carol Fucello will be here, and she'll be talking about her program about, it's a senior citizen program, putting people with people so that
Right.
they're not left alone and, that they have a support system. Judge Kimberly Wacker. Wanker.
I'm going to tell her how you pronounced her name. Wanker.
Wanker.
She's
Well,
sorry.
whacker, wanker,
She's-
isn't
she's
it the
sorry.
same?
No.
Oh.
She's sorry there, Judge.
You know what? I heard that she has mentioned that she would not change her last name for anything because it helps keep her sense of humor intact.
Which is good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So,
Who else is on there? Carol?
It'll be interesting to talk to her. And Dr. Otto, the audiologist, will be on hand talking about your hearing and what to do
what
for
I
yourself.
hear? Can you hear what I
Anyway,
hear?
we want you to have a safe but fun New
Yes.
Year's. Keep in mind a designated driver or close to home, or do something proactive so that you don't get in trouble or whatever, and that you can enjoy yourself. And it's never fun to wake up with a hangover. It's
isn't.
not good.
No,
Yuck.
not.
So anyway, we love y'all.
Happy
Talk to you later.
New Year.
Happy New Year. And out we go with little dance, 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 dance.
Oh, that's so cute.
See you later. Say goodbye, Al.
Bye.